Hey again, we're back. We did finish removing the engine from our 99 Outback. We did it off camera. Camera battery died, but we have it out. We'll take a look at that in a few. But today we're actually going to work on a little diagnostics. We've got our other 99 Subaru in here that recently has been acting up a little strange. It's hard starting. It cranks over fine. Crank, no fire for like 5-6 seconds, then it'll fire up. Once it fires up, it seems to run okay. The only thing that symptom that I kind of think it's very slight. The idle's a little bit rough, and the idle's actually low. So yesterday afternoon at work, when I was leaving work, it crank, and it almost didn't want to start. So, but it fired and then it ran fine. I didn't think much more of it. Came home. This morning I started up just fine. Well, it cranked along, but it started. Went down and stopped at the convenience store for my morning cup of coffee. And when I come out, I didn't think the car was going to start. And it finally did fire. So it's like, okay, we got to take a look at you. So I brought it back, took another vehicle. So we got it here this afternoon in the garage, and we're going to take a look at it. This is the other 99 Subaru Legacy. It's an Outback, 2.5 liter as well with an automatic transmission. So the symptoms is extended cranking before it starts, slightly low idle, and slightly rough idle. Now the first thing that comes to my mind, and I'm just getting this off of the way the car was acting when it wouldn't start, is fuel. It's almost like we don't have, our fuel pressure's low, or we've got a fuel restriction, or something to that effect. Other things possible that have been problems with these cars that could do the same thing is camshaft position sensors, crankshaft position sensors, things like that are actually inhibiting the fuel flow, not turning the pump on. So let's go take a look at it and see what we can find, and see if we can fix this thing and make it happy again. I will take a little note here too. There's no electronic indication of a problem. There's no check engine light. There's no DTC stored. The system's clear. No other issues. So anyways, the first thing we're going to do is it's been sitting here all day and it's cold. So I'm going to put our fuel pressure gauge on it, which we have right here. And we'll start to take a look at stuff. Okay, so we've installed our fuel pressure gauge, and as you can see, we've put it into the inline with the inlet for the fuel. It is after the filter. When I did this, put this on, I did take the filter and check that the filter is very free flowing. But when I disconnected the line, okay, this line here to put our gauge in, I did check, and there was no fuel pressure at all here. It has been sitting all day. It's cold. I have not tried to start it. So the first thing we're going to do, get you guys set up so maybe you can see it, is I'm just going to cycle the key on and off without trying to start it. The fuel pump should energize for approximately 1 second, just to build a little fuel pressure before you try to start. So let's cycle the key and see what we get. Key to the car would probably be a handy thing. All right. Here we go. Okay. I cycled the key twice, on and then off. And that gave us, well, I'm seeing 22 pounds of fuel pressure. So let's see if she'll start up and see what we have for pressure then. At idle, this thing should have 20, I think 26 to 30 psi. As you can see, it was really reluctant to fire. And this is cold. So right now, pressure-wise, look at that. Okay, it was kind of bouncing around. Looks like now it's more stable. Gosh, we don't have maybe 18 pounds of pressure. Let me zoom out here. So we are definitely way under spec fuel pressure wise, very low. I think that is our problem right there. And the one thing that I will note is another thing that could actually cause this condition that we pretty much just ruled out with our pressure test is that the coolant temperature sensor, if that were a problem, the computer might not actually be able to tell what the temperature of the engine was. So it wouldn't be rich enough when it was cold, or it would be, too rich when it was hot, something like that. We basically have just disproved this with this test. And I will say that the condition was pretty much the same regardless of the engine temperature. It's pretty much always the same. Now the one thing we can do, we'll do here quick, I don't know how much of this you can see down in here. I got my fingers. The fuel pressure, where I am, somehow or another I got. I'm zoomed way in. Okay. Come around. It's hard to see, but down here is the fuel pressure regulator. And what I can do is I can unplug the regulator. We should have a rise in fuel pressure, which we do. Okay? A significant rise in pressure. So if you plug it back in, pressure goes down. Up, back in, pressure goes down. So the fuel pressure regulator appears to be functional. So that's not an issue. So with a factory spec of 26 to 30 psi at idle, and with us sitting at approximately 18. I think that's pretty conclusive that's our problem. Okay, I've let our car sit here and I've let it warm up slightly, and the pressure did not change. It remained the same. So I think it's pretty conclusive proof that we do need a fuel pump in this car. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go see if I can source one and obtain one, and then I'll show you what it takes to change out a fuel pump in a Subaru Legacy Outback wagon. Alright, so we moved to the back of our car. We've laid our two back seats forward, and we've popped out this panel. It's here. It's this panel right there, I think. Pop that out. Taking out 4 screws to remove this access plate here. And there's our there's the top of our fuel pump assembly. You got your pressure line out, your return line, vapor line, electrical connector. Now the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to disconnect our electrical. Look at that. Pull our electrical connector out. That will kill our fuel pump power. And now I'm going to go up front. I'm going to start the car again and basically run it out of gas. That will depressurize the system. So, here we go. No worries on that. In just the small amount of time it took me to go and get a fuel pump for this car, it's already depressurized. So let me try to find a good spot for you guys, and we'll go ahead and pull our pump. Alright, well I think I've got you in a relatively decent place. Maybe I can do some of this with you seeing something. It's actually pretty convenient with an in-tank pump that they gave us these provisions to actually remove the pump without having to take the tank out and stuff like we do in some vehicles. So somebody was thinking a little bit on this. Shouldn't be too much fuel coming out, I hope. Sometimes these lines can be a real challenge to get out. I hope I'm not just taking video of the back of my arm. You guys can see something. Actually able to come up with a pump just down the street, so that was okay. See, there's still some pressure there as you see it releasing. That's one thing you got to be careful of. You're fooling around with these pressurized systems, is make sure the pressure is released. That's the big thing. You don't want to spray it in the eye or anything pleasant like that. There's everything. These hoses, when they're on there for a long time, they essentially bake right on here and lock right on to the little post of the pump. So let me get a little bit of lubricant. Spray on those, sometimes that'll help us a little bit. We can do a little to help the very dry connection between rubber and steel. That'll help us out. Okay. Pusher. Take the clamp off. I want to get these back out of our way however we can. You have to be careful, well, with your pliers as well, but when you're using a little pick like that, which actually works pretty good, you're getting these, you have to be careful. You don't go in at such an angle that you stab the hose. That'll ruin your whole day. Okay, we'll push these down here, and if they want to be nice, they'll stay out of our way. Another wire of some sort here I have to deal with. Get that out of the way. Okay, so now we're unhooked, and we got these little nuts. Take those off. There's two ways that you can purchase these pump assemblies. You have to be very careful. Your sending unit and whatnot when you take them up out of here. You can do the wiggle. You gotta wiggle it into just the right position and let it drip. What I like to do, I like to just sit there for a sec and drip. So when you actually do take it out of the car, you're not filling the interior of your car with gasoline. That's always good. I'm gonna get a rag. Alright. Alright, so got a rag. Let's take our pump assembly over to the bench and we'll change out the pump itself. Okay, changing these pumps out is actually pretty straightforward. Don't have to be a mechanical genius to get it. I mean, you just take this off, we get a new hose so that you get your wiring connection, and it just push down in the bottom. And always when you change these, replace your strainer. Get a new strainer and put on the end of these when you change them. Very, very important. Okay. work it up a little bit. This comes out. There's a little rubber insulator there. Okay, fine. Get this little something to get our pick. We can push that tab in, release that lock. These fuel pumps are not too expensive. I mean, this I just paid, you know, locally, so you pay more, but I just, you know, come on out of there, you. I just, you know, locally, so I paid a little bit more than I could probably get it off the internet. But it's $160. There's our pump and strainer assembly. Beyond that, you notice here, one of the things that you notice is a big difference is this here will accept the OEM wiring connector. Okay, a lot of your pumps that you purchase, especially the cheaper ones, will just have a generic two-prong, you know, two-post, positive and negative post, and you have to cut the wire off, and you know, I've seen butt connectors and all kinds of stuff that there. There's the that's the fuel pump that we're putting in. That's a Delphi, okay, and this is the strainer for this. That's a Delphi as well. And like I was saying, there are, like I say, I paid $160 for these two pieces, and excuse me, there are cheaper alternatives, but I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think this is anywhere that any one place that you really kind of want to, you know, necessarily go cheap on your parts. You know, you can save a few bucks somewhere else, but are you really saving anything if you have to do this again? I guess is my point. There's a little plug in the end of our strainer, and I believe there's a little O-ring that goes part of our pump. A little package. We got a new spacer. We got a couple of clamps. And we got this O-ring. And I'm trying to think. Trying to remember. I think this O-ring may go on here. Doesn't seem to want to. It seems to be awfully big. Now, see, this is no O-ring. This fits pretty tight on this one. So no O-ring on this particular one. And what you do is you put this down, put it in, goes in there, it pushes on pretty snugly. Fits that pretty tight, which is good. You want this to be tight on there. Okay, so you got it all the way down, and you get this little one-way clip that goes on there. And it keeps this thing from coming off. get a little something to push that on. Maybe here a little socket would be. Nope, that's not quite. That's not quite right. Of course, then we drop it. It disappears. And then we'll be very, very sad. Let's see, with a strainer, we got another one. Maybe this one here will be a little bit more user-friendly. It's like a little tooth washer. Like a little tooth guy. See that there, a little tooth guy? And I'll put that on. I gotta come up with a little something to push that on there, because that is not going to go on with my fingers. How about a 5mm socket? There you go, just like that. And that essentially locks us on. Yeah, there's no way that was going in there. Okay, so there we are. And there we have it. That's all installed. Now the rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. Get a new hose. Clamp. And a clamp. So we can get a screwdriver. And we'll tighten this down. Okay, big dummy, why don't you get a screwdriver that'll fit the clamp? Okay. I tried to have some tools laid out beforehand so you guys would spend less time watching me look for tools and more time actually fixing something, but you know, see how that worked out. Okay. That's tight. Get this one. So we've got our wiring connector. Up on with our hose. Okay. Hose is up on. And now we get to put our little insulator deal in around there like that, and slide the pump back, and there you have it. Okay, good. There you go. Take our other clamp. Put it on here. Okay. There you have it. Our new pump's installed. And we're ready to go back in. Alright, so there you go. We're basically ready to try to fit this back down in there without, you know, busting or tweaking anything. That's the main goal here anyways. Okay, goody. Drop right in. There is a gasket on the bottom of our ring here that's retained these little rubber things. You guys with cars, if you're in the Rust Belt where this stuff is corroded and rusty, pay special attention to all this stuff. This, like I say, we're fortunate enough here, stuff doesn't rust and it stays pretty clean. Because in this car, it was actually a California car. So, stuff just kind of falls apart. But, a lot of places aren't that fortunate. So, make sure, your rubber seal is good because it will leak if not. That's one thing that's a given. Okay, and our little wire is free here. There's nothing up underneath. Okay. Alright, we'll just get this a little hand snug. Make sure everything's okay. Okay. So I'll put our hoses back on, put our wire connection, and we'll give it a try. Okay, so there you go. We're at about, I'd say 28 pounds, somewhere in there. And our spec on this is, 26 to 32. So we've done well. Car starts right up. Seems to start a lot easier. Yep, that seems good. We'll take it, come back, make sure that there's no leaks. Looks good. All right, I think we claimed success. Put our car back together. And let's see what we got. Alright, well there you have it. It's all back together. Went for a ride, seems to run pretty good, seems to start up better. We gained a little bit of fuel pressure. That's all it takes. It's just a little, actually, to be honest with you, a couple of pounds low, and it does make a change. So there you go. I mean, keep that in mind when you're So keep that in mind if you have, any kind of problems with your rig. Don't discount the simple fact that, maybe you've got a no pressure issue. That's about all I can say. Everything seems fine, so we'll see. We'll give it a run for a few days. We'll see how it starts cold. And, see how it starts cold and goes overall, but it does seem a lot better. So it's good. At this point, we're going to call this a win. So the other thing I was actually going to show you guys is our 2.5 out of our other 99. It's right here. I apologize that we did not get all the video of it coming out. Well, we're going to make a real concerted effort to get all the video of it going back in, which would be just a reverse operations. So some night this week we'll start tearing into this. She wants to be a part of it, but she's actually working quite a lot this week, so we'll see how it goes. So anyways, until we find something else to play around with that we think might be a little bit interesting, I guess that's about it. So until then, everybody be good, be safe, take it easy, and we'll see you next time.